everyone, it's Kellen Brower from RacerX, back again with another race examination video. I know it's a little bit late this week. Wanted to highlight a couple things from Unadilla after we've had a very busy news week here at RacerX. But starting off with the 250 Moto 2 start here, because I want to talk about Joe Shimoda, who right here I'm going to highlight off the gate. He's going to kind of like wheelie off the gate a little bit, and then get a little squirrely coming out of the gate, and then get shoved in by his teammate and a couple other people around him and get pushed back a little bit. Whole reason I'm highlighting this, though, is because Shimoda, we talked about him using start blocks and how that's helped him get better starts. Well, in the past, when Shimoda would get, a bad jump or a bad start like this, he'd end up a lot further down the field than he ends up getting right here, which is like just outside of the top 10. He's able to get up inside of the top 3 and start battling pretty quickly after this. So just goes to show that even on his bad starts, Shimoda using a new technique on the starts this year, or late in this year, I should say, is really kind of starting to help him out, get out front early on. Now let's talk about Hunter Lawrence and his problem late that he had here midway through Moto number 2. Hear from Lawrence himself.
So yeah, when the bike started playing up and how it was the character of what was going on, it was identical to when an engine seizes. So it was pretty scary because it did it on a jump once, and then there's some big jumps out here, so I kind of like wasn't jumping anything for a lap. Like, okay, is it gonna die? Like, and it would be good, then it would stuff up. So I'm like, and then after 3 laps, I'm like, okay, I guess it's not the engine. Like, otherwise it would have stopped by now. And
honestly, that's pretty crazy to think about, the fact that he's trying to decide whether or not his bike is blowing up while he's trying to race for a podium position here with McAdoo, Shimoda closing in. He eventually fell back a little bit even further than this. And a lot of people were theorizing maybe it's a rear brake issue. He's got a rock in there or something. But yeah, he thought that the bike was seizing. And eventually he decided, you know what, it must not be the engine, so I'll just get back after it. But crazy, crazy situation there for Hunter in the second moto. Now let's talk a little bit about this slick racetrack. It was a very dry Unadilla, pretty uncharacteristic for what a lot of people expected it to be. And it was catching some people out, particularly Jet Lawrence here. We saw Justin Cooper crash out of the lead there just a second ago, but Jet Lawrence crashing while he's trying to battle into a podium position as well here. And this is a very unique crash because it's one of the few times that I can remember seeing somebody actively trying to not get hurt while they crash, because Lawrence is going to fold up here and kind of tuck his arms in so he rolls. He actually rolls 3 times after high siding, and that's really good because if he augers into the ground and comes into a stop, that's a very easy way to break a collarbone or a wrist or something like that. So he's thinking all the while, how can I not get hurt right here, which is really interesting to see, and may have helped him save a championship run here. But Joe Shimoda does get the overall win on the day, and I just wanted to highlight this at the end real quick because I always love seeing these moments. Shimoda did not know he won the overall, so it was going to be a pro circuit guy that's going to pull him off to the side right here. He's going to start talking to him, and he's going to be like kind of confused at first as why the guy's so pumped up, but then the guy's going to stop and show a little number 1 sign right here to say like, yeah buddy, you won. And then just love to see the emotion that's going to pour out of Shimoda here, like dumps the clutch on the bike and it's just like, what, I won the race. That's incredible. His second career overall win, and just really, really cool to see there for Joe. I want to remind everybody that this video is presented by onX Off-Road. Know where to go with the #1 off-road GPS app. Access 500,000 plus miles of trails and roads, open dates, and public lands. Download the onX Off-Road app today. So now moving on to the 450 class, and I feel like nothing encapsulates how good Chase Sexton was at Unadilla than this pass to the lead on Eli Tomac in 450 Moto number 2. First of all, jumping down into gravity cavity, holds the throttle on much longer than Tomac, scrubs off of the finish line jump, lands to the inside, gets to the inside to make this pass stick, but he's not done yet. Tomac's going to try to fight back to the inside a little bit here. Sexton lands hard on the gas around the outside, just keeps it absolutely wicked, and is able to take the lead away. I mean, just watching this whole sequence again, look at how late he leaves it to like try to break and scrub off the top out of gravity cavity. He goes so much farther than Tomac and is able to get to the inside, still get break for this inside line. And I was watching Sexton all day long as well through this like kind of double, triple apex inside rut. He was so smooth and fluid with his motions through there, and he just kind of made it all seem like one seamless corner. It was really incredible to see his technique through that corner. But another thing I wanted to highlight with Sexton that I've noticed over the last couple weeks, but particularly at Unadilla, if you just watch his head when he's going through a section that's very rutted or bumpy or something like that, his head hardly ever moves. It's so stationary and just so centered on top of the motorcycle. And I think that's a big reason to explain why of late it seems like he's so much more connected to the motorcycle. He seems like he's never really out of balance with the bike or anything like that, very well on top of it quite a bit. And it's just something unique that you don't see a lot of these guys kind of do. Like he's well planted over the center of the bike. His technique seems to be pretty flawless in a lot of these sections, but even when things go slightly wrong, like there's going to be a little bit of like a kick right there, the bike kind of swaps around, the head is still barely moving. And I think that just shows that he feels pretty confident in his ability to kind of like work the bike underneath of him right now. And on a rutted track, rutted bumpy track like Unadilla, it kind of paid off dividends. That being said, I still want to give give Eli Tomac quite a bit of credit here, because Unadilla is not an Eli Tomac track. He has not done well here before. He still has never won the overall here, even though he has a moto win to his credit here in the 450 class over the years. But early on in 450 Moto 1, when he's going after Ken Roczen, you're kind of seeing a lot of the same things that Sexton was using. Another, late braking out of gravity cavity to the inside to get this pass done on Kenny for the lead. But then Tomac's going to use some of his kind of techniques that he uses, which is, get out into some looser stuff, try to find the loamy sections of the track. Whereas, Sexton's been a little bit more technical about finding ruts and some things to bank off of. Tomac's just, gritty, kind of bulldogs his way through sections. And that's what we saw here when he's passing Roczen for the lead. So both of them found unique ways, I think, to find success at Unadilla, but Sexton was just that little bit better, is able to go 1-1 and get the points lead back. Cool little moment here as he goes across the finish line in 450 Moto number 2. Him and Matt Burkeen both fist pumped because Burkeen's just stoked that he did 30 minutes plus 2 laps on a 2-stroke. But of course, Sexton is pumped because he just beat Eli Tomac straight up twice to go 1-1 and get the championship lead back in his favor. Incredible day at Unadilla.